Okay, good afternoon. It is Monday, September the 2nd, also called Labor Day, and welcome to uh, week 5 of Drugs and Crime. I am recording this lecture a little earlier today so that you'll get it earlier. And also, many of you probably wouldn't be appearing anyway today because of the holiday. So I thought I would just record it in advance and start sharing it with you. So let's share my screen. As you know, the quarter is just about over, that the quarter will actually end in 1 week from Friday. A week from Friday. And if you go down, you will see that week 5 lecture is today, and there'll be a recording down there which I will be emailing to each of you as well. And you know the requirements as far as providing the keyword, which will be due by Sunday, this Sunday coming up. So you want to make sure you have that as well. And then you should be aware of the fact that I've already stated that assignments for week 1 through 3 will not be accepted, and that I've actually gotten all grades in for assignments completed weeks 1 through 3. And week 4 you just completed last night, which was September the 1st. So I'll be grading those during the course of this week. And so we're coming down the stretch. So I'm going to go and go over week 5 announcement as I refresh it here. So this week we're going to deal with drug-related criminal activity, public health perspective, and I submitted to you already Chapter 9 of the Drugs and Crime, the Drugs, Crime, and Justice textbook, and you have the PowerPoints for that. And you should take a look at the activities drug addiction and public health perspective, and then I'm going to include today in this session the very long video, Chasing the Dragon, which is long, but I want you each to take time to look at that, because you have to do that for your assignment anyway. And then indicators of use activity. And of course, your discussion post, initial post, incarceration or treatment, is due by tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, and your reply post is due Saturday 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then you'll complete the course project Heroin Addiction, One Person's Journey, and then you'll have the quiz. As I recommend, the quiz usually should be done at the end of the week so that you'll have time to study and you'll be up to speed and everything for that. So, so let's finish strong. Let's finish strong. And you already know about my motto. So let's take a look at the course calendar so you can see clearly what I've elaborated on about the course ending. And here we go. This is where we are today, September the 2nd. Assignment that I just went over, your live lecture, your initial post, which is due tomorrow night, your reply post due Saturday, your course project, which I just discussed, and I'll go over in more detail, and then of course the quiz. Okay? And then starting next Monday, a week from today, we will finish out the course. Remember, the course finishes 4 days after we start, which is the 13th, not the 14th, not the 15th. All assignments must be in by the 13th at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. No exceptions. So don't come later saying, I thought it was. No, it is not. All right. So now let's close this, and let's get to the actual module. So drug-related criminal activity. And so here are your assignments. Of course, the heroin and addiction, one person's journey. This is the final part of the course project. Last one that you'll be doing because the final exam will be next week. And for recognizing and exploring the individual stories of addiction, and you're going to review your notes and watch the video Chasing the Dragon, which will be featured in this recording. Then conduct additional research to learn more about the unique challenges associated with the abuse of opioid prescription painkillers. And then remember your requirements, which you're familiar with, a minimum of 3 pages, not the cover page, not the title page. And then you're going to cover each of these issues. Again, be sure to rely on additional content beyond what you learned from the video, not just the video. And then finally, it says, please share your thoughts and observations from what you learned during the course project and explain how they apply the knowledge that you've learned in your career. And that's going to be included in the paper based on these questions. At least 3 credible resources. Some of you, only one of you did in one of the weeks. Maybe it wasn't in this class, maybe it was in my criminal law class, but anyway, Wikipedia. Never use Wikipedia. We've said that over and over, and it's also in the module. And then, of course, if you need help, you go to the crime course guide, which drugs and crime course guide, which we've been discussing the whole quarter. And then, of course, as usual, click on the assignment, and you see the due date, which is Sunday, and you see the possible points are 40, and it tells you how to get it. Just basically what I just said a few minutes ago. Okay, so you're going to provide 3 credible resources other than the textbook. And remember, the video doesn't count in terms of that as well. So you're going to make sure that you do include that in your paper. All right. So then we'll go back. And the discussion, incarceration or treatment, talks about what your first post requires, which is due tomorrow night, and then your reply post. And then, of course, your quiz. It's a time quiz set for 30 minutes, and you'll have one opportunity to complete this exam. And I already told you the parameters, and then your live lecture keyword or phrase that you'll get at the end of this session. All right, so now let's go into, again, remind you about the drugs and crime course. Again, I remind you, click on it and use it. It tells you about each module at the beginning, discussions, and it tells you about how to find websites and finding articles, newspaper articles, and your course project tells you the things that you need to remember in terms of getting them done. All right? So I just wanted to share that with you. So let's go back to where I was. Okay, so now let's go to the lesson content, which is where we're going to conclude in terms of this. So, drug addiction, a public health perspective, and video, indicators of use activity. Okay, so let's talk about first public health perspective. We've been talking for the last 5 weeks, and I've been sharing information with you about what I have learned, sharing with you the fact that, number one, that drug addiction is an epidemic, and that individuals find themselves abusing painkillers and using heroin. And the result is that there's been an increased abuse of people seeking to get painkillers, and it has created a crisis. And I said we're of epidemic proportions, and that it says here, and we talked about this last week, giving priority to the health-related issues rather than arrests for drug-related crimes. We talked about that last week in terms of the deflection, Senate Bill 3023, and programs that are similar to that to help individuals and recognize the fact that this is a health problem and not just a crime problem. And so it's an opioid epidemic. And so we're going to make sure that you understand clearly after you look at the video today. Now, this gives an example of another type of program like 3023. If you look at the last paragraph, it says many police departments are looking beyond their traditional enforcement policies to an outreach initiative. For in 2015, a chief in Massachusetts, in the Gloucester Police Department, was disturbed by what he saw, and so he began looking for a way to deal with the issue. So on June 1st, 2015, the ANGEL program, which you might do some research on, was launched in this department. And the purpose of the program was to help individuals who were opioid addicts and telling those people rather than run away from the police, but to come to the police who could connect them with treatment services. Now, isn't that just like what I talked about last week and what I shared with you with Senate Bill 3023? And it says those requesting help through the program, they're not charged with criminal offenses, and even if they possess drugs or paraphernalia, under this program, this ANGEL program, the police department acts as an entry point to the process. And so these are the types of things that law enforcement is starting to recognize and deal with, and helping individuals to be healed. As I said at the outset of this course, that you're going to discover as you take this course that individuals are on drugs, but the reason they're on drugs, commit crimes rather, and the reason they commit many crimes is to support their drug habits. And many of you begin to elaborate on that in your written assignments. And you'll be beginning to see. Well, after you look at this video today, which I'm about to put up in a few minutes, you will see exactly what I am talking about. So I've just shared with you another example of how law enforcement agencies are starting to deal with drug addiction. Now, as far as indicators of use activity, you can take time to do this yourself and submit your answers, and then next. So I'm not going to spend any time on that. What I am getting ready to do is to bring to your attention the epidemic aspects of what you're getting ready to learn in just a few minutes about the suffering and pain that individuals go through who are heroin addicts. I previously mentioned, and let me grab it again, this book right here that was written by a young man that came to our campus in Romeoville, Hope to Hope, a man in recovery by the name of Tim Ryan. And the book, he detailed many of the things that you're about to see, not the exact things, but the kinds of things that have happened in his life, even so much as losing a son. He himself was on the drugs, but then he found himself freed of the drugs, and now he's a counselor helping people. So it says here that while purchasing and selling heroin is illegal, it is very, very, very important to remember the human aspects of addiction. Heroin addiction does things, tears families apart, lead people to do things they never thought they would be capable of, and it names some of the stealing from relatives, burglary, and prostitution. So as you watch this video, think about these questions: the correlation between drugs and opioid addiction, the ways that people got hooked on opioids, and then what you learn, how fast someone can become an addict, and then how the people are described in the film, their daily routines, and you'll find some devastating things that happen. And some of the main reasons users switch from prescription painkillers to using heroin, how it starts out with that. I'm a person who is definitely not a big painkiller person. And then the health consequences of opioid abuse as discussed by people in the video. So I am going to take my headset off because there's going to be closed caption in here as well. So I'm going to get the video started. First, I'm going to turn off my video camera so you're not distracted by my movements, and take a gander and look at this. This video is about, it's about pretty close to an hour long. So, Chasing the Dragon, it's 47 minutes.
I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I just did it. Once we started getting high, it was done. She was 17 years old, and the only way I knew about it is because she was arrested. Started smoking pot around 18, and I was always offered prescription drugs, and I never would take them. Then I was in a car accident. I was running down in the middle of the night. Water, fell down the stairs, landed on my back on the wooden floor.
It started for me with pot and just progressed into hell, basically.
Weed didn't do it for me, but definitely weed started it all for me.
It was definitely something I didn't see until actually I had no clue what I was getting myself into, so.
Started taking 3 at a time, and I was taking 4 at a time, and then I became addicted that day. When you're getting high, it's not just a drug.
You're hooked. $500 over.
And she was a convicted felon at the age of 18. I had maggots in my leg, turned to prostitution.
Stealing from my family.
Married, mother of 3, I'm
They take you to hell back.
It's not just a little pill. It takes control. I started using heroin. The same heroin that just killed me. You can't go back and say I'm sorry.
It will win.
It will get you. Her sister found her.
Died in her sleep.
My daughter, she's dead.
Being addicted to opiates is like chasing a dragon. You're constantly seeking that first high. But what's going to happen if you actually catch it? Coming from a great family, you know, always had what I wanted. Never had a curfew. I could sleep over at my friend's house whenever. I could have done pay for me to go to any kind of school, stuff like that. And any kind of, they pay for guitar lessons.
I grew up with my dad. My mom wasn't in my life though. He pretty much was mom and dad throughout the whole life. He would tutor me for at least an hour. On the weekends, we'd go out, we'd go camping, we'd go out on the boats. We always had something planned. She started in gymnastics when she was like a toddler, and she was a cheerleader through middle school, high school, and she was also a competitive cheerleader. She started competing probably in 7th grade. She was a very good student. She was in AP classes, AP honor roll. Worked myself up through the years. with minimal college to a position I worked as a corporate account executive. An average of $122,000 a year. Things were pretty good financially. We were secure. Kids were happy. We had no real issues. Dad was military. Mom was Korean. Everyone I grew up with was the same way. Everyone's parents was military and Korean parents, Korean moms. No, I did martial arts, ballet, gymnastics, did all kinds of stuff. I did piano lessons. I was an honor roll student. Always went to school. I was like 3.43, 3-point average.
I had a great childhood, great family. We did a lot of camping, a lot of fun stuff, going to the beach, camping at the beach. Very active in scouting, Boy Scouts, and something my father, me and him did together, a couple of days before my 18th birthday. I actually got my Eagle Scout, which was an accomplishment for me.
I met my first husband when I was very young. I was 13. And then we got married at 17. So I got to grow up pretty quick. I was 22 years old, and that's when everything started. I got pregnant with my youngest daughter. Once I had her, they gave me Oxycontin. That was the pain medicine. From then on, that's where my addiction started.
A friend offers you something at a party or at home, or you're having a bad day and you need something to pick you up, so somebody hands you a pill and says, "Here, this will help you feel better." That's how this problem always starts.
I was at a concert, and I was 15 at the time, and I was drinking a beer, so I got a possession of alcohol charge. I got put on probation, so I couldn't smoke pot anymore. So I started to panic, and then man said, "Well, here, try this," and it was Oxycontin 80.
So I was hobbling into work, and the young lady that worked there used to be a pharmaceutical sales rep, and she had some samples of things. And she said, "Katrina, have you gone to the doctor for this yet?" And I said, "No." So she said, "Well, I have these things. Take one. Not more than that. Go home, take one, And I had a habit every night where I'd go home and have a glass of wine. So I went home that night and I took what she gave me, but instead of taking one, I took two because I didn't even know what they were. And took the two, had my glass of wine, and all of a sudden, it just triggered something in my brain, and I would say I became addicted that day.
I think the new friends had a really, really big impact on, when she got to that fork in the road, you go left or you go right, and I think at that point, the friends helped pick the road that she chose. This sounds really appealing. I'm going to try that. But I guess what most people and most kids don't understand is, when you try something, you're not trying it. It's your new path.
I just like the feeling of certain things being high. It wasn't like I'm depressed, I'm gonna take this to make me feel better. It was kind of like I'm feeling good. I'm gonna try this to see if I can feel even more better.
Started taking 3 at a time, and then I was taking 4 at a time, and then I started taking like 6 at a time. And then I went from taking them orally to shooting them. And that was the end. I went back to the doctor a couple times and got him to refill the medicine to the amount that he couldn't refill it anymore. So then I started buying Oxycontin off the street. From there, Oxycontin started to be more expensive and harder to find. A girlfriend of mine introduced me to heroin. I could get a whole lot more for a whole lot less. And then once I shot up the heroin, that was it from there. My addiction took off. And my daughter was 7 months old when I became physically addicted to heroin intravenously.
never hesitate to ask them all which drugs they've tried. And they'll typically say, started off with marijuana, tried cocaine, I've tried oxycodone, and I ask them of all the drugs they've ever tried, what's the most addictive drug? And without a doubt, 100% of the time, they'll say the most addictive drug is oxycodone. You know, the drugs, I feel like it took my mind over, made me do things that I, normally brought up not to do, and it just turned me into a
I just went in my medicine cabinet, and my buddy's like, oh, hey, these will get you high. Let's do some. So I was like, okay, you talked me into it right here. I don't have to pay anything, sure. It doesn't even have to be, it could be right in your house. And the next thing you know, you're hooked.
My friends in the beginning were the friends that didn't do anything, and then I met the crowd that did do stuff. You are who you hang out with. That is for sure.
These kids go into it as, I'm just going to go to a party, and hey, they're doing this over here. Let me, I want to fit in. Let me do a little bit. And it's the devil. It gets you. It's that temptation. Hey, this is a fun party over here. It'll suck the life out of you.
All I wanted to do if it had been in front of my face is do it. It's not just a little pill. Respect the power of that, of that. Just because it's a prescription, it is every bit as addictive. I worked at a daycare, taking care of other people's kids. I drove the daycare bus. I had to take their children to school. I could drive their kids to school. I was in the daycare, crushing up pills, snorting them, so I could go about my day. The whole time you're sitting there saying you're not a fanatic, you're not addicted, guess what? You are. Because why are you taking that hit saying, nah, dude, I can quit when I want? You're addicted. You're like, oh, I only smoke weed. I'm not addicted. It's natural. Whatever. Say something, whatever. Oh, it's legal now. Oh, stuff. Whatever.
First time somebody uses an opiate drug, the euphoria that they get is something that they continue to search for and seek for. So while you could do that in the beginning by just chewing on the drug, over time you can't get that high anymore. So now you have to take it up to the next level. And nobody sets out thinking that they're going to end up being a needle user. But every one of those needle users will tell you that they couldn't get the high anymore doing it the way they were doing.
Heroin became my best friend. Heroin became the love of my life. I put heroin before my family, put heroin before my children, and I thought that I couldn't do nothing in life with heroin. There's absolutely no difference between, in my mind, a heroin addict and a pill addict. We both will do anything to get it, break the law, do whatever. You're both addicted. You both go through the withdrawals. You both go. It's just the exact same thing. It's everywhere. It's in your cabinet somewhere. It could be in your grandparents' cabinet. It could be your friend's mom's cabinet. It could be anywhere. Those pills. Heroin could be in a drawer somewhere. Who knows? It's all the same. One's just prescribed to you, and one you go cop on the street. There's no way to say no. It's hard. Real hard. I can tell myself no, but my body, as soon as you think about it, you get anxiety, your palms start to sweat. Your mental ignores your physical part of it.
I am very angry. And one of the things I'm most angry about, and I tell her all the time, is that drug was so much more important to you than me. And I'm the one that can help you. I'm the one that helps you. I'm the one that supports you. I'm the one there for you. You need something, I'm going to be the one to take care of it for you. But something that literally destroyed everything good within you was so much more appealing. Wanted that so much more than anything I could offer her. And I'm angry. I am angry at that.
addiction and the behavior that comes with it is pretty standard, regardless of where you're born, how much money you have, how old you are, what your race is, what your nationality is. You can be the smartest person in the world. The minute that chemical hits your bloodstream, you lose control of what it. You can't control it. Nobody can control it. I don't care who you are. It's not controllable.
I lived in crack houses. And it's almost like something you see in an abandoned building with drug paraphernalia everywhere. It might be a piss-stained mattress, and God knows what else is on it. There was actually a place in the city that we were at, and a lady had overdosed in the bathtub. She had died. She was still in the bathtub. We'll just find another room in the house. And that's what my day consisted of. It became my full-time job. The needle was my boss, a very demanding boss. Your whole day revolves around it. You go to sleep doing it, and you wake up doing it. You know what I mean? It's like some people smoke after every meal they have, doing a shot.
It's a never-ending vicious cycle. It's the same thing over and over and over. You wake up, all you want to do is find out how you're going to get something, how you're going to get it.
You know, it's kind of stupid if you think about it, because I'm wasting all this money stealing from my family and my friends just to do a drug and fall asleep, you know. And then I wake up sick, so I'm like, crap, now I got to do it all over again, you know. You're still chasing that first high. So, you know, in order to be high, you got to at least be normal. And to get there, you got to at least do enough to where you're not sick anymore, so.
Well, usually, if I had stuff the day before, I'd always save a bag for the morning time, so when I wake up, I could get well. And I call it that because, in the end, I wasn't using to get high anymore. I was using to stay well, so I wasn't sick. You know, I'm not even getting high. I'm just trying to, you know, be able to get up out of bed. You know, my head was always, you know, I feel like I've missed a couple of years of my life because there's a lot that it's just a fog, black fog, because, you know, I really wasn't there, you know.
My addiction level was so bad that I couldn't even function without 40 pills a day. I was ill, like literally every 4 hours, the chills started setting in. And I would wake up and I woke up sick. And that's the way it went all day long.
How do you know you're an addict? It's when you're doing something that you know is not good for you, that's harming you, but you can't help yourself. When your relationships are starting to fall apart around you, and you don't care, and the only thing that's on your mind is about how to get stuff, to get to the next high, you're an addict. You can't maintain an opiate addiction and a normal life for very long.
I felt like after my first year of using it, I actually got addicted to where I actually needed it to wake up and get out of bed, start moving around, take a shower. And that's when I started, you know, stealing from my family, friends. Everything I had in my pocket was all going to it. So I got a $500 paycheck, $500 going to dope.
Because you always tell yourself, whenever you're using drugs, especially it's like a super addictive one, I'm not addicted. Oh, you're addicted. You know what I mean? Like, you're fucking addicted. You're in denial. You know, you might not be addicted at that point in time, but you're going to keep using, and a month later or 2 months later, you're fucking addicted. At one point, my husband said he would stop putting gas in the van so I could drive the distance to the city to get my drugs. And I said, well, I'll show you. I'm going to move to the city. So I don't need my van, and I don't need gas money, because the dope dealers are going to be living right here with me. And that's what I did. I ran away from home. You will be high and put yourself in situations that you will get hurt. Someone will take advantage of you. You know, to be knocked out, it's going to happen. You're going to get hurt.
Some people who have money and they don't have to steal for it. And then you meet other people who, you know, just pawn their family's TV and it's coming to get high and then deal with the consequences later.
She stole checks from her grandmother and signed them. She stole my debit card If it wasn't nailed down, it was in the pawn shop. She spent $800 a week. My daughter, who had, everything handed to her, could have gone anywhere in the world, very book smart, very motivated, worked at a strip club. My little girl degraded herself just to get that. Women turn to prostitution, which I've done myself. Guys will steal the lobby right in front of you. I've seen guys take guns out on dealers and steal and rob everything from them, not even worrying about if they get shot or end up in jail. People get raped. People get, it's people. Now I can say, well, like, when you're getting high, it's not just a drug, So.
Best thing that can happen to someone who's addicted to oxycodone is that they can be arrested. That's the best thing. The best thing that they can be arrested and go to jail. Everything other than that is worse. It's going to end in a bad way.
You're going to get caught eventually, so I just didn't think it was going to be me. I would just think they must have screwed over the wrong person, they got caught because they weren't careful enough.
She was pulled over. I searched the car, and she had a quantity of pills. At that point, she was smoking them, so there was some type of a pipe device in it. So she was arrested, and she was a convicted felon at the age of 18. I have 4 kids. My youngest son will be 1 this month. I've been locked up for freaking 8 months. First time I got locked up this year, he was 2 weeks old. Don't even know my kid. My other 3 are in foster care right now. I never thought any of this would ever happen to me. The only thing I care about is my kids. Like, my kids are suffering. It's not me. I give two shit because I'm suffering. Yeah, it sucks. But it's like, my kids, they didn't do anything in this. My parents, they got to come visit me through, I don't even get it, through a window. They get through a camera. A little camcorder. That sucks. It's not worth it. Losing your freedom sucks. You have somebody tell you when to get up, when to shower, when you eat, what you eat, and you have to worry about the other people that are in here for, life, and they don't care about you. I was supposed to go to court November 2011. I was supposed to let me go. He gave me the maximum, which ended up being 23 months, 2 years instead of the 10 months. And at the time, I was so angry. In retrospect, I'm very thankful because I would have, I know for 100% certainty I would have gone right back up and done it again.
I got kicked out of my house, and I met your neighborhood-friendly drug dealers who were like, oh, you can crash on this couch. And, of course, they'd give me stuff here and there, but it wasn't ever enough for me to even enjoy it, so that made me run fake prescriptions. You don't think about anything. You don't think about anybody you're hurting. You don't think about before and after. 7 dudes in all black are running up against the house. You don't think you're going to be on the news. You don't think anything. You don't think any of that.
Every generation seems to have their drug of choice. Unfortunately, this generation seems to have found prescription opiates as that drug of choice. And even more unfortunately, the consequences of those drugs are far more devastating than anything else we've seen in the past. Chemically and physiologically speaking, there's very little difference between oxycodone, morphine, and heroin. It's just that one comes in a prescription bottle and another one comes in a plastic bag.
In the beginning, I would always try and get pills because you know what you're getting, it's always going to be the same thing. And then eventually that just got too expensive because it's cheaper, but getting really good stuff overdosing or getting fake stuff or just stuff that isn't good enough to even get you well.
A lot of my friends were trying heroin you know, to get the same high from the Oxycontin, and it was cheaper, and so of course I got into it, and it just grabbed me, you know.
I can tell you this, that I think she was able to access heroin, more heroin, easily than the pills. When she was using one or using the other, she was the same horrible, difficult person.
I always said that I would never touch heroin ever in my life, and prescription drugs that led me to try heroin. Prescription drugs are the same thing. It's an opiate. You can get 4 shots for the price of 1 pill, and it's a pretty drug, because you never know what you're going to get. People can cut it with something that can kill you. You know, that's how most people overdose, is that it's cut with something bad.
The doctor asked me, he said, where are you getting your heroin from? Where, you know, I said, I'll never tell you who I'm getting it from. He said, I don't want to know from who. He said, I want to know from where. And he said, well, let me tell you what you're shooting up. He says, you're shooting scramble heroin, and they are using meat tender cutting agent. It's not like, you know, a bag of heroin comes with ingredients on the back. Of course, you trust your drug dealer that he's going to just, you know, keep you coming back to him, but he claims he didn't know either. That's how he got it. But, yeah, so it eats everything away underneath. In here, they shoot a meat tenderizer, and they have, like, big, blue, black marks. Look at that. Oh, my God, that's meat tenderizer. You've got a few of them. What do you mean? You don't learn? You don't learn. You're trying to die. It doesn't matter.
A lot of my friends, abscesses, they might get a staph infection, which turns into MRSA, or, you know, Hep C. And, you know, if that's your only needle, that's your only needle, so you're going to use it again.
At one point, I had an abscess in my leg that was so bad. I had staph infection. My leg was like 4 times its normal size. When the doctors cut my leg open to clean it out, I had maggots in my leg. They were eating the rot, the infection. That wasn't enough for me to quit. As I was admitted to the hospital, they gave me a PICC line, which is an IV line. I had to come into the hospital and shooting heroin into my IV line. I have contracted hepatitis C from sharing needles with people that I don't know who. I shot up toilet water because I didn't want to send any money to go buy a bottle of water. So we would stop at public restrooms and use toilet water to mix with it to shoot it up. Rainwater on the side of the road, and suck needle and shoot our dope. I didn't care what it was going to do to me later on. Just I wanted the feeling of it right then and there.
Withdrawal for the individuals that are taking the heroin that's available now looks like extraordinary physical, muscular pain. And very few people can actually manage it.
But you know how when your whole body hurts when you have a flu? And, like, just, it's like 15 times worse than that. Opiates, you're getting sick. I don't know who you think you are, if you think you're stronger than some dope, because you're not. You know what I mean? Your body's going to give in, your mind's going to give in, your judgment's going to give in, you're going to bow. And that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. That withdrawal is...
You feel like you just want to die when you're going through that. At that point, you're willing to do anything to get that next high so you can just...
I mean, I remember her in her room crying and just busting her room up, screaming at me, just get me a little. Just get me a little so I can stop. No.
Feels like your skin's crawling and you can't sit still, and you'll do anything to make it stop. You can't move. You constantly sneeze. Your whole body aches. It hurts. People are crapping on themselves. People are puking on themselves. People are doing both at the same time. You would probably rather be dead than have to actually go through a withdrawal. It was horrific. I was sitting on the toilet, diarrhea, vomiting on the floor, so weak I couldn't even move. I just lay there like I didn't want to eat, drink, nothing.
It's just something that I never ever want to experience again. It is the worst feeling ever, and I wouldn't wish that feeling on my worst enemy. That's how bad it is.
Every day I come to work knowing that somebody died. And more times than not, we have at least one prescription drug or other substance abuse case. Your friends, your family will find you dead, and what happens. And then that is the image that they get stuck with for the rest of their lives.
I've lost several friends to heroin and prescription pill overdose.
I know 2 people on a personal level that had died from it.
You know, one time my friend, she got out of here, she wasn't even out 6 days. She was dead. One of my friends, she took her normal dose and OD'd. Her sister found her with a needle in her arm in her room, which was not good. The day that I was having a hard time finding a vein, and a girlfriend of mine said, well, just go in your neck, and you have your jugular vein. And I said, okay. It didn't let me push all the heroin in, and instantly it killed me. The ambulance got there. They gave me a shot of Narcan, and I was non-responsive to the Narcan, which is adrenaline, and that's to, jump. And it didn't work. So they had to use the defibrillator, and that's where they shock your heart back. They got a pulse. They got me to the hospital. I was still kind of in and out of it. But when I came to, I unhooked the IV from the pole, unhooked all these little things they had on me, and I went and walked right out and got in my van. And I showed up to the dope dealer with the gown on, these things stuck all over me, the IV in my arm. And he sold me heroin, the same heroin that just killed me. I utilized the IV times before I turned it back in. I have nowhere really to shoot, so that was a freebie. So everything came to a head. I was writing prescriptions and full on with my addiction, and I ended up getting caught and going to jail. And while I was in jail, my daughter got involved with some friends. My friends were all doing prescription pills. I had no idea. I didn't even know it was a problem. I just thought it was my problem. And she said, Mom, you don't have any right to talk. Look at you. Look where you are. So the person you saw where it put me, I can't imagine you would do the very same thing that I did. I was like, how? It just didn't make sense. My mom, I would go to the doctor's office every time with her. Well, I told her I'd go in for her. And usually it works because she'll go in for me and ask her my prescriptions and they give it to her. And so I went in and I asked, and next thing you know, she got arrested, and then she called me saying that I had one for me. I said, why would you make me go in and do that? Like, it's your own daughter, knowing that she can get caught and get in trouble. And she said she was sorry because she didn't realize how bad her addiction was. Help, Kirsten. I talked to her. She didn't even say goodbye. She must have nodded off the phone because I heard like that was it. It was Saturday afternoon. I was in the jail and they came down and told me they needed to see me. And I went up and because her father and I were both arrested for the same thing, we were both there, so I saw him coming. And the detectives came and told us that she, what had happened. It was a parent overdose, and that she was, initially they said she was in ICU, struggling for life. They wanted me to, talk to the doctor. The doctor recommended I disconnect all life support, and I refused. And then had 7 resuscitation efforts, I guess, and eventually, that morning she passed away. At her funeral, most all the kids were high. This is real. And I will say, because I remember being that teenager too, so I know it's like they're gonna mock it, but it's real. And I think I'm still, it is hard. I don't even know how to put it into words. Maybe that's why I'm able to feel, because it's so mind-numbing. To somebody you love that much. She's my first love. So when you love that much, you can lose like that, and you can't go back and say I'm sorry or set a better example or talk them out of it. And I know she didn't want to go. I know that's not what she wanted. I know that she had, all these things that she wanted to do, and I know that as they resuscitated her through the night, that was her way of clinging to life, But it was too much.
I love my children more than anything in the world. I will walk through fire for them. And I know a lot of parents feel that way. But you can't feel that way. You have to understand what you're dealing with is not your child. I put my own child in jail to stop her from this. And that's not an easy decision to make. It's not a fun decision. Nobody wants to know that their little girl's sitting in jail. But she was 7 months clean, eating healthy, getting her rest, no drugs. My son, my nephew, my mother, and I went to get her. And she came out and she was healthy. Everything was great. Everything was great. There were no problems, no fighting, no talking about, Mom, I'm feeling funny. I need to go to a meeting. Nothing. Everything was just that little girl at 16 before all this stuff started. That's who she was. And then she asked to go to the store to get back cigarettes. And she came home, said, oh, Mom, I'm sorry I was late. They didn't have my cigarettes. I had to go to another gas station. Okay, and things fine. So I'm cooking dinner, and I'm like, you want to help me cook? She's like, no, I don't want to help you cook. She told me to go in my room and watch TV. And she was so bubbly, like nothing. Nothing was wrong. And she went upstairs, and it was maybe 40 minutes cooking dinner. Dinner was done. And I'm hollering for the kids. My son and nephew come down, and Sarah didn't come down. She fell asleep or something. So I go upstairs and knocking and knocking and knocking on the doors, no answer. I open that door, and my little girl is on the floor dead. And I remember when I pushed on her chest, I heard that last breath. I heard in my kitchen, cooking dinner. And that happened 17 steps up. And I had no idea that when she left it, that was going to happen. And I spend my Sundays looking at a gray headstone in a patch of grass. I will be spending my Christmases there, her birthdays there, all my holidays. Because she took that wrong turn.
My girlfriend Sierra, she passed away a year ago this month, and from heroin, and that's a constant big reminder in my head that you know, if I even pick this stuff up once, it's gonna kill me, you know. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about her. And you know, not a morning that I wake up that I don't wish that she was laying there beside me, you know. She was my best friend. We went to high school together. I met her in high school. I'm sorry. I just miss her a lot. I wish she was still here with me.
Sarah came home on February 12th. Sarah died February 18th. She got out. Still calling her. Still calling her. It's that powerful that you could spend 7 months clean, and being educated on nothing but how to beat it springs and all of it in the last 6 days. Spiral down is so fast. And everything. I lost my daughter first and foremost, but I lost pictures, every material possession I had. I had never been in trouble in my life. I'm now a felon at 41 years old. So all that work I did, you know, all those dreams I had, you know, it's like I'm starting over again with a huge weight on my shoulders. You know, all for uphill. My dad doesn't even trust me anymore, which is hard because my dad's always trusted me my whole life. I've never had my dad look at me with disappointment before I did this. Criminal, I'm an addict. That's how everybody will always perceive me. Listen to what they say no. Just say that you're not uncool for saying no. You're more cool for saying no, I think. I wish I could have said no. If I could go back and do it all over, I would definitely go back and say no.
I didn't feel like I was physically hooked, but that's because I never gave it a chance to stop. You know, I didn't really learn how to enjoy life without drugs. As much as I wanted to quit, I was too scared to ask for help. I don't want to freak my parents out by telling them I'm hooked on some hardcore drug. It didn't kill me like everyone told me.
It's not worth it. And it will get you. You're no different than anybody else. It will destroy your life. You will end up in a jail, you'll end up dead, or you'll be in some crazy institution for the rest of your life. That's serious and that's for real. And it took me coming to jail and being incarcerated. And it took me missing my mom's funeral, missing my children grow up. It's taken all of this because nobody in their right mind would turn their back on their dying mom for a drug. I want to be that loving and caring mom that my mom was to me to my girls. I don't want them to hate me, to resent me. I don't want them to be embarrassed by me anymore. If you want to fail the rest of your life, if you want to be in out of jail, you want to probably lose something that matters to you, go ahead. Go ahead. If you want to be happy, you want to freaking
get married, like every good part of my life, I wasn't getting high. You know, every good part of my life, I was getting high. And I got to tell you that. If you want to be a flunky, go ahead and get high. Go ahead and do it. But, I've been there, done that. I wouldn't recommend it. Sierra take life for granted until she started using. It is much stronger than you. And it will win. It will win. Because this doesn't just affect you. It affects everybody in your family for the rest of their life. That we're the ones stuck here, missing you. And there's help out there. You gotta take it. Don't think you can do it alone, because you can't. And your parents aren't the enemy. That's what.
It's something I want to deal with for the rest of my life. You know, to be honest, I actually just relapsed about a month ago, and used for about a month, and I had a week clean on Wednesday, and you know, that's something that just shows how powerful this disease is. For me to lose somebody a year ago, not even a year ago, but what this stuff is. Just gonna try my best to stick with it, because I know it will kill it. You know, just something I gotta work at every day. They don't take you to hell and back, and if you're lucky, you know, you'll make it back. You know, it's just not worth it at all. If I could go back, and if I knew what I knew now about this, and if I could go back, I would do it all different. Starting with that first pill, I wouldn't touch it.
That was powerful. That is something that you should never, ever forget that you saw. That is something that kind of captures the essence of this course and the importance of those of you criminal justice professionals, whatever role that you play, to understand these people are victims. They're not really criminals, but they become, your definition of a criminal is someone who's been caught committing a crime. But then there's some times that you have to learn, and I learned this as a lawyer, to talk to my clients why, and learn the why. And oftentimes tell you the why led back to drugs. And so now it's at an epidemic proportion. You see there are individuals who are totally good people. They just went to the doctor. for painkillers. I was telling my wife recently, painkillers are bridges to some more severe. I know athletes. I know many entertainers. I know radio people, TV people. I know professionals. I know law enforcement people who have all had that bridge. So with that, I'm going to say good afternoon to you. And the key phrase, you should already know it. Chasing the dragon. I'll see you next week for week 6 and our final lecture. Have a good week. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.